Due process for illegal immigrants simply means confirmation that they do not have American citizenship and then removing them from the country. Under federal law, they are not entitled to court appearances or a jury trial, as some Democrats naively assume. What this means is that you do not deport people who have a right to be in the country. That is the due process. Do they have a right to be here? Yes or no? Okay, then you get to stay, or you have to go. These people could be doing when they're not at work. Could they bring their crime to the restaurant with them? Could they be engaging in criminal activity that harms people? Of course, that's a terrible situation, but we've got to get to the issue of due process, which these folks can't seem to get through their heads, applies differently to folks who might not be in the country in a legal capacity and may have snuck in.
Did in a time of invasion. So I would say that's an option we're actively looking at. Look, a lot of it depends on whether the courts do the right thing or not. At the end of the day, Congress passed a body of law known as the Immigration and Nationality Act, which stripped Article III courts, that's the judicial branch, of jurisdiction over immigration cases. So Congress actually passed, it's called jurisdiction stripping legislation. It passed a number of laws that say that the Article III courts aren't even allowed to be involved in immigration cases. Many of you probably don't know this. I'll give you a good example. Are you familiar with the term temporary protected status, or TPS, right? So by statute, the courts are stripped of jurisdiction from overruling a presidential determination or a secretarial determination on TPS when the Secretary of Homeland Security makes that determination. So when Secretary Noem terminated TPS for the illegals that Biden flew into the country, when courts stepped in, they were violating explicit language that Congress had enacted, saying they have no jurisdiction. So it's not just the courts aren't just at war with the executive branch, the courts are at war, these radical rogue judges, with the legislative branch as well too. So
The gist of this is that court proceedings and due process work differently for people who aren't supposed to be here than for people who are supposed to be here. Something activists are very upset about. Due process for illegal immigrants simply means confirmation that they do not have American citizenship and then removing them from the country. Under federal law, they are not entitled to court appearances or a jury trial, as some Democrats naively assume. What this means is that you do not deport people who have a right to be in the country. That is the due process. Do they have a right to be here? Yes or no? Okay, then you get to stay, or you have to go.
And of course, self-evidently, of course they have to be deported. You can't have a situation where the Biden administration can fly in 500,000 illegal aliens in the last 24 months, and we're having a conversation about, oh, maybe they should get to stay for life. They've been here for 24 months. They were flown into our country illegally, and the good news is the airplanes travel in two directions. Next question.
What? I mean, this sounds harsh, but the reality is people were brought into the country in a manner that was against the law to begin with. They were given court cases, which allowed them to get protected status that protected them from deportation, allowed them to stay here while those court cases played out. The court case and the charges were a reward for sneaking into America illegally. This whole thing has been a scam on the American public since day one, and you've got people out there defending it because their businesses and their front lawns benefit from illegal immigration because they don't have to spend as much money and they think they're out there saving the world from Donald Trump. When reality couldn't be further from the truth. Every single person working illegally in America is just an incentive for other people to pay criminal organizations and cartels for them to be snuck into the country so they can flee to sanctuary cities and try to do the exact same thing. And all that does is empower a growing criminal underworld, which uses that money to do things and victimize people in ways that are just too horrible to even discuss. We've got to put a stop to it. If we don't put a stop to it, it's going to keep happening. And to me, the craziest part of this story is that you've got these rich people who serve rich guests at a vacation destination for some of the wealthiest residents of America and the entire world, and they can't pay fair wages and hire people legally. They can't do that. Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. And it also doesn't make sense to me that folks would be okay with the perpetrators of heinous crimes with horrible gang affiliations just openly existing in their community and being protected. These are people that absolutely nobody wants to live near.